Welcome to Noir Alley. I'm your host, Eddie Muller. If you had to pick an actor who was emblematic of film noir, who would you choose? For my money, most movie fans would say Humphrey Bogart, with Robert Mitchum a close second. Although I'm sure there'd be plenty of votes for Robert Ryan, Richard Widmark, and John Garfield. Big stars all who definitely left a legacy in noir. So pity poor Edmund O'Brien, who probably wouldn't get a single vote even though he made as many noir films, if not more, than any other principal actor. After his 1946 starring role in The Killers, O'Brien made 14 films over the next 10 years that could be called noir, including one of the most famous films in the canon, DOA. Among the darkest films on his resume is the one we have today, 1954's Shield for Murder. If O'Brien wasn't as memorable as those other actors I mentioned, it's because his specialty was portraying ordinary men, which made him invaluable in noir, where plots often hinged on regular guys, insurance agents, notary publics, discovering that they're capable of doing dreadful things. In Shield for Murder, O'Brien plays a cop, but this is a cop who finds public service a laborious route to Easy Street. So he decides to take a shortcut with predictable results. The movie is based on a book by the prolific William P. McGivern, who in the 1950s had numerous films made from his camera-ready crime novels, The Big Heat, Rogue Cop, Hell on Frisco Bay, and Odds Against Tomorrow. The final screenplay for Shield for Murder, from Richard Allen Simmons' adaptation, is by John C. Higgins, who also wrote last week's offering, He Walked by Night. Expect to see plenty more of Higgins' work in Noir Alley. Producer Howard Koch had developed this project with the expectation that Dana Andrews would star. But Andrews may have felt that this shifty and corrupt lawman was too close to the cop he'd played in 1950's Where the Sidewalk Ends. So Andrews passed, and in stepped Edmund O'Brien. But not only in the detective's rumpled raincoat and fedora, he took a seat in the director's chair as well, splitting that duty with Koch and marking a first for both men. Now, Koch would go on to a fairly extensive career as a director, but O'Brien would take the helm only one more time on a feature film for the 1961 heist picture, Man Trap. Bad cop noir was a fairly extensive subset of the genre, especially in the early 1950s, with movies like The Man Who Cheated Himself, The Prowler, On Dangerous Ground, and Detective Story. And some critics felt these movies were a cautionary commentary on the abuse of power wielded by the House Committee on Un-American Activities, especially its punishment of writers. The writers themselves might simply argue that when it comes to mystery stories, no one makes a better culprit than the guy who gets to investigate his own crime. In 1954 alone, 4 bad cop movie films appeared in theaters: Pushover, Rogue Cop, Private Hell 36, and Shield for Murder, the most blunt and brutal of the bunch. This was also the first starring role for 19-year-old Marla English, for whom big things were predicted when Paramount signed her to a contract in 1952. But after illness forced her to drop out of the 1956 production of The Mountain, she never got another part in a major studio film. And after making 3 Bad Sisters, The She Creature, and Voodoo Woman, English decided to quit the movie business, marrying and retiring to San Diego. As you're about to see, Barney Nolan, the protagonist of our upcoming film, would have been very envious of English's cushy life. Distributed by United Artists in 1954, here is Shield for Murder.